Welcome everyone to our first live shop tour. You're going to be able to see how some of our sinks are handcrafted today. I'd like to introduce Jessica, who is our project manager and clearly will not be with us much longer. She'll be coming back though. And Matea. Those are the two, other than myself, that you might likely talk to on the phone on occasion. So we are going to start in here, which is where our laser is. This is a brand new machine. Fiber lasers just came out on the market a couple of years ago. Typical laser cannot cut copper, brass, or bronze. For some reason it burns up the laser. This actually cuts with fiber optics, along with, as you can see over here, there's a tank of liquid oxygen and 16 tanks of nitrogen. One of the interesting things about this is the actual width of the cut in the material is only 50 microns wide, which is half the thickness of a human hair. So we're going to cut in a minute or so a sponge caddy, and you probably will not even be able to see that it's been cut until it's lifted out of there. The cut is so tiny. One of the big advantages of this for us, compared to what is traditionally used to cut custom sinks, is that we can cut very close to the edge of the material and very close to the next item on the sheet. Believe it or not, you can get within 1/8 of an inch of one piece to the next, which in many cases allows us to run, for example, smaller items like sponge caddies down the side of a long sheet, whereas in the past that would have been waste material. So we've been able to cut our waste significantly, and we factor that into our costing, which helps us take care of the constant rises in material costs. This is Bill. Bill does many things here, as does everyone. He typically is the one that runs the laser, does the CAD work. He also does finishing and welding. Oh, and he also makes the crates that we ship our sinks out in. It's hard to believe that one person knows how to do all of this. If you look at this door to the left, how long is that, Bill?
18 feet.
18-foot door with no support at the other end, and you can open it with one finger, doesn't sag at all. Bill designed and built this when he first started here. We're going to fire this up.
Okay.
Got to put our safety glasses on.
Ready to go?
Hit it.
Here we go.
It's cutting stainless with nitrogen. We cut the other materials with oxygen. One of the other nice things for all of us is the cut is so smooth that there's no finishing involved after the fact. That cuts down welding time and finishing toward the end of the sink manufacturing. The other nice thing that we appreciate is the fact that this is very, very fast and extremely accurate. So So we've been able to dial in everything to be as perfect as possible. We're almost done here. The only way you can tell anything's been cut is you're seeing light coming from underneath. Once that turns off, oh, there we go. And there is a sponge caddy. Thank you, Bill.
My pleasure.
And we are going from here to where we would typically go after a complete sink has been cut, over to bending. This is John, he's our foreman. He does many things here as well. He's going to bend up a sink on our auto brake. He's going to be putting in one of the many bends for a Paragon sink. This process takes an extreme amount of skill because perfection is an absolute necessity. Now he's got a jig in his right hand to check to make sure the bend is perfect everywhere. Do you have another step? How many more bends are required on this to get a complete side done on a Paragon sink?
I have 2 more.
2 more, okay.
I have 1 flipped over and then 1 back in the bender.
Obviously, if he was as small as I am, this would be virtually impossible to do. He's able, now, this is a 5-foot sink, John?
Yes, sir.
Now what he's done that you may not be able to see is he's marked here exactly with a pen where the bend has to be. So this is all manually measured and lined up to be perfect. Even though this is a very sophisticated machine, once you get past a certain amount of bends, everything else is manual. Now the angle is programmed in over on the computer there. And a different jig. Everything look good?
Yes, sir.
It seems lately, past year or two, that sinks are getting larger and larger. It's very common to see quite a few 5 and 6 foot sinks in here, and almost all of them in that size range would be a Paragon sink, which is a 3-tiered sink, 2 interior ledges. One of the unique features of the Paragon sink is the top front to back dimension is 18 inches and the bottom's 18 inches, which is exclusive to our sinks. All set here?
Yes, sir.
Okay, we're good here. We're going to move on to welding. This is Norman, our lead welder, who has the welders at NASA amazed at the kind of work that he can do. They basically said it wasn't possible, but it is possible with this guy. This is a very large, very custom Millennia stainless steel sink. He's already welded up the inside, and it's going to receive an apron around the outside of the sink. And I believe the owners, future owners of this sink are watching. We sent them a link so that they could see this live and see how beautiful their sink is turning out. And I think Norman's going to do just a touch of welding.
Yeah, sure. Let me find my helmet.
Where are you going to weld?
I'm gonna go right here.
I'm going to put these on.
So we're just gonna do a little flange right here.
Okay, he's going to weld the top part of the flange, and when this is finished, you're barely going to see that there's a weld there, even though this is a textured stainless steel sink. Yep. One of the things that he does on these sinks is try to duplicate the pattern with his welding. And there we are. All right, thank you, Norman.
No problem.
Now we're going to move to finishing. This whole area here is for finishing. This is Jacob, also known as Sparky, Sparkles, Spooky, depending on his mood. He does everything here, literally. He can weld like a pro, finishes incredibly well. He can bend sinks. He's even top-coated sinks. Done a little bit of patina work, so literally can do just about everything that is required here. He's even done some CAD work. And from here we go to a gizmo that Sparky designed and built. This is a pretty amazing gadget he's got here. It allows us to put a sink of any size and shape in here except for a corner sink. This happens to be a top mount sink, but we can ensure that it will rest perfectly flat, and then we can also check the squareness of the sink, which we're doing right there. This is Nick, by the way. Nick does quite a few things here. He is a former Marine, which we're very proud to have him here. And his attention to detail is frightening, to say the least. His finishing is just incredible. He's done some welding. He's one of our newer people here, and we're very thankful that you're with us. Once it goes, it passes this part of the inspection, then it goes to me, and you'll see a drawing with a checklist. Everyone checks off their work and checks the work prior to them. So everything is double checked, and then I sign off on it. I've already signed off on this sink, but I want to show you how perfect it is. Thank you.
You're welcome.
This sink is perfectly square all the way around. I can't get that angle with this, and I think this is too big to get in there. There's a smaller one. Yeah. I remember checking this guy. That's perfectly square there and up here. Oops, there we go. And another check that I do on corner sinks. These are machined to be perfectly flat. Run this across here to make sure that when this is installed, this is because we can't put it on the table. This is an undermount sink. That everything is perfectly flat all the way across. This doesn't dip down or come up. So this is a perfect sink. They don't leave here unless they're perfect. And then I'm going to show you a step that happens just before this. Oh, we have a little baby sink out here. We fill these up with water. I don't even know where you turn it on. There we go. This is apparently the only one we had available, so I'm not going to fill it. But then we run 120 pounds of air pressure everywhere it's been welded to see if there are any bubbles, to make sure that nothing leaks. We level the sink, pull the plug, make sure it drains properly. Truly, this isn't a great example. But just take note of the exterior welding on here. This is the part that no one sees. That's some of the finest welding that you're going to see anywhere. And we're going to step over here. This is Andres, who does our patina work. He is finishing up a patina on the inside of a sink that has already been patinized and top coated on the front. This is the last step. He's just using vinegar and a natural sea sponge. This time of the year, it goes fast. And Andres can definitely say the winter was brutal. He can do here in an hour would take pretty much a day and a half sometimes, right?
You're not wrong.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
it definitely does help.
The heat and the copper loves it. And that's how we do it. The reason we're about the only company that does it this way is time. We happen to be fortunate that we live in Florida. Sinks are made here, but if you're trying to do this in a different climate, it could take a day per sink, and most companies make more sinks in a week than we make in a year, so they can't afford the time to do this properly. This is the color copper wants to be. If you open up your purse or look in your change, pennies are this color. That's the color copper wants to be. So we started out that way, and it will maintain itself with almost no care. The only use and care on our copper sinks, rinse it after you use it. That's it. Can't hurt it. Thank you, Andres.
Thank you.
These are some sinks that are in process. Look at that little baby bar apron front sink. And then we are going to walk across the parking lot to our office and shipping area and showroom.
We actually had a couple
got-
visitors pop on. Hoyt Lovelace
Oh, Hoyt! Hi, how are you?
said the shop looks a little different from him when he visits,
Yes.
and it is beautiful.
Hoyt has the two largest copper corner sinks we've ever built, and he actually flew down here to see his first sink being built, and he turned me on to sous vide cooking. He had many restaurants, and that's how he cooked steaks in his restaurants. And he told me that they didn't have steak knives; they had but basically butter knives to cut the steaks because they were all cooked perfectly, etc., etc. Great to see you, Hoyt. Who else popped on?
We have Leanne Wesley, says gorgeous.
Oh gosh, hi Leanne. How are you?
And Danielle Salerno says the front is so beautiful back from Patina area. The individual touches our team puts on the sinks are amazing.
Hi Danielle. This is where we stage the sinks, getting them ready to ship. This is a very nice, large, apron front Paragon sink, all ready to get packed up. This will be shipped Monday. This is a storage area where you can put silverware after they've been washed, rinsed, let them dry in here, or pile in dirty ones there just to get them out of the way. The Paragon allows for the grid, for example, to sit on the bottom in the same orientation, which is nice. So having this on the bottom of the sink over here, you can wash on the right, set things off over here. Just gives a lot of opportunity for different types of work in your home. That's a relatively small, I guess, copper undermount sink. That is a next-gen design. And then back here, we've got, oh boy, this one's beautiful. This is a top mount retrofit sink. So this is replacing someone's undermount sink. There's a channel that will slip over the face frame of the cabinet, so no cutting of the cabinet is required, and only a small amount of cutting of the countertop is required. This is a patented design that I came up with, gosh, probably in 1999-ish, somewhere in there. This channel slips right over the frame of the cabinet. This piece is in here for shipping, so that if this takes a bump on the front, it doesn't cave that in. This gets removed. And you'll notice everyone that worked on the sink signs it. They're very proud of their work, and I'm very proud of them. You can see this one has all their signatures on it as well. And then we go to packaging. We make our own crates here. As you can see, we have quite a few. Those are all sinks that should be coming out of the shop next week. There's one over here that goes with the stainless large sink that we saw a minute ago. You'll notice that we have instructions on here. It's also a monitored shipment. We take all precautions to make sure that everything gets to you perfectly. I always sign the sinks to the owners. And this is to Mary and Rob. Best wishes. And many thanks. And then we close the top. That gets glued. And then we have an envelope with information in there. I will show you that. Or not. Here we go. There's a little thank you card and a reference card with a QR code. So basically what happens is you can show this to your builder, your contractor, your countertop people, whomever, cabinet people, they just hit the QR code that takes them to our use and care and installation page. All the information that anyone would need revolving putting this sink installed and doing the countertop work, it's all there. Actually, there's 2 cards. You can give one away if you want. And we're going to take a peek in our showroom.
Dina, we got another comment from Jeff Hood. He said it's nice to see the shop and he's installing his 48-inch and double faucets soon and can't wait.
Sweet. Jeff, great to hear from you. Thanks for tuning in. I want pictures when you're done. This is our little showroom. Interestingly to me, we've been getting a lot of local traffic lately. People coming in, wanting to see the different things that we offer. This copper apron front sink is a Paragon sink. And it's a multi-layered sink with different accessories that can pull out. We have 3 different color cutting boards available. If you notice, standard half sheet pan fits on our sinks. This happens to be a sponge caddy over here. I want to show you something special about our Waterstone faucets that we represent. If you notice, this is installed in a normal position back here, and the water is going to drop front of center of the bowl on a 17.5-inch deep sink, as this one is. Most faucets are going to drop the water way back here, which causes you to have to bend like this to get under the water. I don't care how tall or short you are, that's uncomfortable. You should be able to stand straight up, put your hands out, and be under the water. That's going to be comfortable. Here's the unique thing about their faucet. Watch this. I'm not getting wet. If you did that with any other faucet, you're going to get wet.
You know, quickly, Tina Daniels asks, where is our showroom located?
Right here. Our showroom is located in Apopka, Florida at 2360 Clark Street. Suite E is where we are right now. Across the parking lot was 2370 Clark Street. At the top of every page, there are 2 notifications. One says schedule a call with Dino, that's me. You can schedule a call at your convenience where we can talk about your project. I can send you a Zoom link where you can see my screen on your computer. And then secondly, I think it's on the bottom of every page, it says schedule a showroom visit. So you may do that as well, and you'll have my undivided attention. Thank you for the question. I just want to scan the showroom a little bit to show you some of the Waterstone faucets. This is a gantry faucet. It's got a lot of gadgetry to it. And this is one of our next gen corner sinks, which really solves the problem that traditional sink designs can't fix, a corner sink. One big gigantic bowl, you can easily fit a half sheet pan in there without completely covering the drain. Because it's a next gen, this grid can fit on the bottom in the same orientation. So you can wash things over here, set them off over there. And this happens to be my old cutting board for my house, which I think I used for 8 or 9 years. Still looks new. This is a bronze sink. Happens to be a next gen sink. Looks beautiful with a black and classic bronze mix faucet. This is a knife slot, so you can, for example, have these handy, or for me, I would hand wash my steak knives and then rinse them and then put them in here to dry and then put them away. You can also do the same thing on here. You can put your knives in there, and one of the things I want to show you on the next sink is something that drove me crazy for years and finally came up with a solution. If I have chicken on here, for example, and I'm cutting chicken here, however I'm cutting it up, I have nowhere to set this down. My left hand has chicken on it, my right hand is clean, the handle is clean. Where do you put it? If you try kind of putting it on here, it's going to fall, or you're going to get chicken on the counter. The goal of my sinks is you should never have to use your counter or wipe your counters down. So this way you do your cutting. If you need to do something with your right hand, you set that in there. You do whatever you need to do. You come back, the handle is clean, your hand stays clean. This happens to be a removable drain board. If you want to extend the size of your sink so that you can wash and set things aside without using your countertop and have a drain board that matches your sink, we have that. And if you've got company coming and you don't want it out, you can put it away. It stands right up, takes up about an inch of room in your cabinet. Do we have any other questions?
Sharon Tariff commented, said, beautiful and can't wait to receive her sink.
Oh, hi Sharon. How are you? I can't wait for you to receive it either. I hope you'll send us pictures when it's installed. And
And then it is a cooking and thing.
oh yeah, we have one other thing I'd like to show you, which we didn't set up, but I'll do it real fast. We carry a really interesting brand called InvisiCook. Now this is a 110 version. It actually plugs into the wall with an extension cord. And it's quite easy to control either on this control board here or by your phone, which is pretty cool. One of the things you can do on the phone is if you have a favorite recipe and, for example, you want it on high for 5 minutes and on medium for 20 minutes and simmer for another half an hour, you can program that in on your phone, name it. Next time you do it, you just push a button and it'll take care of itself. This happens to be installed on 5/8 of an inch thick granite. There are some limitations on there. And one of the cool things about this, literally cool, is that when this heats up, and I'm going to kind of fast forward, this is on just a silicone mat. This is cool. It will never get super hot, so you can't burn yourself with this. It's beeping, if you can hear that, saying, hey, I want my pan back on there. And when it senses the pan, it's back to heating. I'm going to turn it off. Or not. There we go.
And a couple last comments before we end. Kara Noren says, beautiful and so excited to see her.
Kara, it's great to hear from you.
And
Hi, Kara.
and Heidi McDonald Willett and Robert from Arizona. It was wonderful to meet you and see your factory in this showroom in December.
Well,
we are
hi.
excited to see our new sink in our home.
Oh, thank you for signing on today. Great to hear from you. Looking forward to getting pictures from all you folks that are getting our sinks. I think that's it for today. We'll be doing more of these if you folks like them. So stay tuned. We'll see you soon. What's that?
And follow us on YouTube.
Oh, follow us on YouTube and Instagram and Facebook. Thank you. Bye now.